Hello, embodied souls. Welcome to your weekly tarot reading. So I am changing up the format of this a little bit. Rather than pulling the cards live, I got this message to actually start pulling them ahead of time so that I can just be present with communicating to you the messages that are coming through from Spirit, and getting into some embodiment work as well, which of course, as we know, is so important to actually integrating these messages that are showing up for us. So with that in mind, I just want to context this reading a little bit. So we had a really beautiful and powerful new moon in Capricorn on Wednesday, which I spoke to this a little bit on my Instagram. Like if you have been feeling really scattered before this new moon, but like after the new year, which of course there's so much pressure in the new year to like get our shit together and know exactly what we're doing and where we're heading. And so if you've been feeling really scattered in that, it's partially because the energy wasn't really aligned actually for us to ground into a new cycle until this Wednesday hit, until this new moon in Capricorn really invited us to get organized around what the rest of our year looks like. And not to worry if you haven't, done that yet. Energy is definitely still here and still supporting it, but pretty quickly we've moved into this cycle of Aquarius, and we are in that waxing moon of Aquarius right now, which is of course all about growth and expansion, and specifically with Aquarius, change on a personal and on a societal level as well. So that's what I wanted to bring into this reading today, was just some awareness around, okay, we're being invited to grow, and we're being invited to step into change, and how might we sit with that? It was really interesting as the cards came out because we have three major arcana cards here and then one court card that came out reversed. With the three major arcana cards, I feel like it's just like we are really being invited to surrender right now, which again, like the way that our culture kind of approaches the new year, not so much about surrendering, it's all about taking charge and taking control. And the energy of Aquarius, in addition to the energy of the major arcana, is really inviting us into a space of surrender and actually trying to control less, but intent more. To be more in our bodies and more in the energy that we are trying to bring forward, and less in the forcing and physically moving things ourselves, okay? So there's really an invitation to notice what Spirit is bringing to you right now. Notice what is being brought to you and say yes to it. If Spirit is bringing you grief, say yes to it. If Spirit is bringing you uncertainty, what happens when you say yes to not knowing? There's so many things that when they show up in our lives, we're immediately like, okay, this isn't okay. This isn't okay to feel this way. I need to figure out how to fix it. And it can be a very different energy when we say, okay, but this might be here for a reason. And maybe before I rush to change the way that I'm feeling or change the way that the energy is moving in my world, I can sit and ground into, yes, okay, this is what's here right now. Is there something that wants to be witnessed? Is there something that Spirit wants to show me in this discomfort? Okay, so let's dive into the cards a bit here. So the first card that came out, and the question that this card is answering was, where are we focusing our attention in this growth phase right now? So just a little more context. We've got about 2 weeks of growth before we hit that full moon, and then we start to work with releasing and stepping into whatever the fullness is that we've developed, and refining and working with that. So we've got 2 weeks of this process, and what we are being asked to focus our attention on during this first week of this opening and growth cycle is the star. So the star is a major card of nervous system healing in this deck, in tarot decks in general. And I am back to the Numinous Tarot today, in case anyone's curious about where the art here is coming from. So with the star, we are asked to acknowledge that we carry wounds. We are asked to tune into the heart space and acknowledge that part of growing is going inward. We often think of growth and expansion as a very outward process, and the star invites us in to be with the wounds, to be with the ways that our psyches and our bodies and our nervous systems have learned what is safe and what is not safe. And to be with the process of healing, wherever you are in that process, and acknowledging that healing is, it's a lifetime process, like we don't start healing because we say like, okay, it's time, and then end healing later at any point, really. Like we go through cycles with it. What this is telling me coming out in this position is that the star really wants us to make space to be with and to tend to our nervous systems, to be with and tend to the way that these wounds are showing up, and to not run away from the wounds in order to present ourselves in some way externally that feels like where we are supposed to be at this point right now. To own if we need to be in a cycle of healing again, if we need to be in a cycle where we're focusing on ourselves more again and really tending to the heart space, and to drop away from the judgment around that, acknowledging that this is a part of being human, that we gain wounds and then we heal, and we wound and we heal, and we're in this sort of process not because Spirit wants us to always be in pain or always be, needing to caretake, but because the very act of caretaking teaches us things about ourselves, deepens our experience of what is here right now. We get closer to not just the pain that wants healing, not just the hurt that is being asked to address, but also to the joy, to the essence of our beings, to our hearts. We get closer to them when we're willing to say, yes, there is hurt here, and I'm going to make space to caretake it. Okay? So the second card that came out, this was answering the question, what do we need to address in order to work with this medicine? And the card that came out for this is the Queen of Wands, or the Creator of Candles in this Numinous Tarot deck, reversed. So it did come out upside down, which I don't always read reversed cards. Sometimes I just flip them up, and there's plenty. If you're starting to learn how to work with the tarot, like there's so much to be gained from an upright or a reversed card. But it felt right in this situation. And what came through for me is that it seems right now, because of what's happening in our world, that the stakes are very high. And when the stakes are very high, that sort of hypercritical mind can try to take over a bit and keep us from fully stepping into what we are being asked to create. So if the medicine that we're working with right now, that we're being asked to pay attention to, is this star, the nervous system healing process, then what we're acknowledging with the Queen of Wands reversed is that it feels like we need to be, like there might be this energy for you. I know I've definitely felt this, that we need to already be there, that we need to already be healed. There's something happening with our minds, with our awareness of what's happening in the world, that's saying like, oh, but it's not super safe to be in vulnerable situations right now. It's not super safe to not have total control of this. But the thing is that like our magic manifests in uncontrolled moments. Our magic manifests in uncontrolled moments. It does not come from clearly and linear, in a very linear way, step by step, taking action in a very like boom, 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 like there's so much mystery underneath that. And not to say that we can't have an organized approach to creating what it is that we're being called to create, to birthing what it is that we're being called to bring into this world, because we can be organized in it, and our organization has to acknowledge that being out of control and being vulnerable and being in the spaces of not knowing, that is where some really serious serious potential can come through, okay? So what we need to address is this sense that it's not safe to be in that vulnerable space of healing because it feels like our world needs us to be there, wherever there is for you, already. Yes, the stakes can feel high right now, but that doesn't mean that we don't get to still be human, that we don't get to still not know. And be in that not knowing, trusting that the richness of our magic can come through from there. The third card that came out, what allies are here to support us? And I love this because the card that came out is Temperance, which of course is our card of co-creating with spirit. This is our card of that crown chakra connection, that open portal of receiving information from spirit. Spirit is very close to us right now. It wants to be here as a supportive ally, not just to push us, to push us forward in our growth, but to really hold us in this space of acceptance, in this space of non-judgment and of non-duality, of flowing between the human and the divine without needing to fit clearly into any particular box, to be in the stress and anxiety and uncertainty of our humanness, while at the same time acknowledging that we are held and not judging ourselves for those human emotions, but actually harnessing them for this healing and growth and creation that we're seeing in this spread. Spirit wants to hold us. We come back to this idea of surrender, like I said, we have 3 major arcana cards here. Major arcana, these are the forces that surround us always, that we may not actually need to engage with in a really tangible way, but trust that it's there. Trust that it's there. When we get to the embodiment piece of things, we're going to work with the crown chakra a bit today, because this feels really important to acknowledge the way that Spirit wants to be an ally and a support system for us, because that allows us to rest in the star a little bit more. It allows us to go towards those wounds a little bit more. So we're going to work with that. The final card that came out, I was answering the question, what can we ground into as we work with this medicine? And the card that came out is Awakening, or in other more traditional decks, it's Judgment. Judgment or Awakening is a very wide scope of a card. It is a seriously zoomed out lens where we are asked to surrender, this is another major arcana card, but we are asked to surrender to the reality that we don't know everything. We are asked to awaken to the things that are far beyond our lens as human beings, far beyond what our physical eyes can see, to awaken to the expansiveness, to the hugeness, to the limitlessness of the universe. Which, as I'm saying that, yes, there's a lot of energy in this opening, in this rising up of awakening, and almost like, like our soul is being pulled out of ourselves so that we can witness the hugeness of what is inside of us, So with this card coming out with the question of what are we being asked to ground into? Now see, that's really interesting, because what we're being asked to ground into is that the ground beneath us is way deeper than we can possibly imagine. Like we can see that surface level if we're walking, in the park or something. We see that surface level of sidewalk, of grass, of whatever our feet are making contact with, and we don't always acknowledge the depth underneath it. The profound miles and miles and miles of dense, solid earth that is here to support us. We're being asked to ground into the hugeness of our potential, the hugeness of the potential of the universe, and of our role within it. So this is root chakra work. You know, when we think of the root chakra, so often it feels very human. It feels very like this body, and in a lot of ways it is. But one of my teachers, you know, I learned that when we have that like piece of soul, that little nexus of spirit that comes into our being, it descends through the crown. The crown is that portal that the soul goes into, like so much other divine energy. The crown is the portal, but it comes down to settle in the root. And so the root, while it is intricately and fiercely connected to our human bodies, it is also the seat of the soul, the seat of our birthright that invites us into further growth, that invites us into the discomfort and into the challenges, because that's why it's here in the first place. So when we're doing root work, we're not just acknowledging I'm here, I'm human, I'm grounded, I'm with the earth. We're acknowledging that it's for a reason. That it's for a reason that we're here. It's for a reason that this piece of soul chose to come into this body, this particular body, not just any body. It chose this body, this life, these parents, this set of experiences, and it matters. It matters to the entirety of existence, to the entirety of the universe. It matters. Your life matters. So that's what we're being asked to ground into, is that really wide scope. Okay. Let's get into some embodiment work. Okay, so if you have the space to, I want to invite you to come to sitting on the earth. And with whatever space that you have and whatever the limitations in your body are, getting as close to the earth as you can right now. And taking a moment to feel the heaviness of your lower body, to drop into the support of the ground, to drop into the support of the building that you are in, the foundation of it, sensing into that depth, the miles and miles and miles of earth that are here holding you, holding your body in this moment. Let your hands come to rest on your thighs and give yourself a moment to feel face down or face up. Just notice what that shifts for you, that turning face down or face up, and choosing one or the other that feels better for you in this moment. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes. There's not going to be anything to see here. Close your eyes and let your awareness drop down into the base of your spine, into the root chakra. Of course, this energy center is so connected to all of the muscles and bones of the pelvis. So feeling into your sits bones, those two bony points on both sides that connect with the earth in a noticeable way. Perhaps it's the 2 points where your body feels heaviest. Draw your awareness to those 2 points and just take a few breaths, breathing all the way down into the low belly and pelvic bowl. With the inhale, drawing light and awareness into that space. And with the exhale, inviting it to soften a bit. All of the connective tissue between the base of your spine and the muscles of the pelvis and the legs and the feet. All those points of connection, softening more into the support of the earth. And with that softening, begin to imagine 2 golden cords descending down from the base of your spine. Down, 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 deep into the earth. See it in your mind's eye, these golden cords descending through the building you're in, through the top layer of soil on the earth, and deeper, deeper and deeper, hundreds of miles in to the very core of the earth, to that fiery space that keeps everything moving and spinning in our world that we are a part of and that is intrinsically a part of us. Anchor in there. Anchor into the knowing that you belong here in this connection to the earth. And when it feels like you have that solid anchoring, start to draw some circles with your hips. Just moving your body around in a circle, rolling on those sits bones, maneuvering through the pelvic bowl, feeling the base of your spine and the root chakra that emanates out from there as you breathe, and start to synchronize this breath with the movement. One more time this direction. As you exhale, start to roll the other direction. And now, as though you're starting to pull the energy from the core of the earth up into your body, as you inhale, feeling the energy pulling up from the pelvic bowl, lifting through the muscles of the pelvic floor as you come forward. Exhale, softening, deepening the connection as you rock back. A couple more times. And find your way to center and stillness again. And however you have placed your hands, we'll all turn them face up now. And as you inhale, gathering this energy you've cultivated in the lower body, and inhaling and drawing it up through the midline, all the way up overhead, extending through your fingertips. And then as you exhale, seeing this column of energy from the crown of your head extending up to the cosmos, to that connection with the universe. That exhale is going to start to invite that energy down through the whole body to the base of your spine. Inhale, draw the energy of earth, of humanness, of your birthright, up, up, up to the sky, reaching through your fingertips. Exhale, drawing energy of the divine, this co-creation that wants to happen with us, down through the crown of your head, all the way to the base of your spine. A few more times like that. Let your breath be audible in through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, invite. Out through your mouth, surrender. One more like that. Beautiful. Bring your fingertips to the ground. Touch earth. And then sweeping the arms out to the sides and up overhead now before placing them right on the crown of your head. One palm touching the crown of your head, one palm stacking on top of that one. Take a moment to let your bones get heavy. Earth grounding you here now. And then breathing through this whole column of your spine. Rooting into your sit bones to lengthen up through the crown. Start to hover your hands just an inch above your head. Moving your physical body into this space of this ethereal chakra, this energy center that actually does float right here, an inch above the head. Now your hands connect to your heart, and your heart wants to expand. So for a few rounds of breath, this is the last piece of it, stay with it for a few rounds of breath. Inhale from heart to hands. Exhale, hands down through the crown. Keeping the hands hovering right above the head. Feel into the energy of this space here. Inhale, heart to hands. Exhale, see that column of light coming through the open chakras in your palms into the crown of the head, feeling this space of opening. One more time, inhale, heart to hands. Exhale down through the crown. And now, like you were starting to pull away layers, pull away stories about why this connection can't be there. Pull them away, and let yourself open up and trust your body right now. Don't worry about what my body is doing. Trust your body. What does expansion look like from this place? What does expansion look like from this place? Feel into it. Maybe it's one shape, maybe it moves. You've got 3 breaths. Let your body show your mind, expanding out from heart and crown, rooted down into the earth. Find stillness.